Hi, everybody. I'm here with Steph Zamorano, Ron Placote, and Hank Thompson. We're talking about the craziness of the lefties supporting Hillary Clinton, but not supporting any of her policies. For instance, Robert Reich, who started out in the Clinton White House back in the early 90s, and he slowly turned into being a populist lefty guy. So now he gets it. He understands what was wrong with NAFTA. He understands what was wrong with deregulating Wall Street. He gets all that stuff. The Clintons still don't. Hillary Clinton still doesn't want to reinstate Glass-Steagall. She's still trying to pass TPP. Barack Obama's trying to pass it right now. So they've learned no lessons. She wants to start a war with Russia. She wants to have a more muscular response in Syria. She did Iraq. She did Libya. They learned nothing. They're the worst leaders you could possibly have. And it's weird. Robert Reich is supporting her, and then he writes stuff like this. Here, listen to look at what he writes. He writes, "The U.S. government must permanently halt the Dakota Access Pipeline now. The Army Corps of Engineers never did a proper review of its environmental impact, nor did it adequately consult with the Standing Rock Sioux tribe."
Are we surprised?
Are you surprised that none of that happened? So you can just do whatever you want if you're a big donor to a yes.
I mean, look what we did in Iraq.
Right. Not only does pipeline go through the tribal burial grounds, but if the pipeline were to leak or burst, it would send oil deep into the Missouri River, the Standing Rock Sioux single source of water for everything from bathing to drinking. Since 1995, more than 2,000 significant accidents involving oil and petroleum pipelines have occurred, adding up to roughly $3 billion in property damage, according to the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. From 2013 to 2015, an average of 121 accidents occurred each year. The negative impacts on health have been severe. An in-depth 2010 report from Worcester Polytechnic Institute, which looked at the effects of 3 major oil spills, found increased incidences of cancer and digestive problems in people who had either ingested the oil directly in drinking water, or people who had used or indirectly through eating the meat of livestock exposed to the oil. In addition, people who had used contaminated water for bathing or laundry appeared to experience a higher incidence of skin problems ranging from mild rashes to severe and lasting eczema and malignant skin cancers. The Obama administration must take action immediately to stop this devastation. What do you think? And Barack Obama says, "Oh, sleepy. I'm so sleepy. We gotta." And then he turns around and votes for. He's supporting Hillary Clinton. He supports Barack Obama. Barack Obama's not lifting a finger to do anything for this. He knows all this stuff, too, by the way. Why are you upset about it, Robert Reich, but the people who actually have power aren't? Why is Barack Obama has no response to this? Why does Hillary Clinton have no response to this? Why do you tell everybody to vote for the people who aren't going to fucking lift a finger to help you? Why? I don't get that. Here's another thing he wrote. Monsanto and other proponents of genetically modified crops promise that by making crops immune to the effects of weed killers and resistant to pests, they'd require fewer applications of sprayed pesticides. Wrong. Herbicide use has increased in the United States even as major crops like corn, soybeans, and cotton have been converted to modified varieties. And he goes on and on and on, and he links to this New York Times article. It says, doubts about the promised the bounty of genetically modified crops. Higher yields with less pesticides was the sales pitch for genetically modified seeds, but that has not proved to be the outcome in the United States. So they're genetically modifying your crops and they're still spraying the shit out of it with poison. Hillary Clinton isn't going to do a goddamn thing about that, Robert. Again, I don't understand what he thinks is going to happen when you're urging people to vote for Hillary Clinton. That this is the whole system is corrupt. The whole thing. So isn't that a mind boggler to see a guy like Robert Reich keep putting out on a daily basis? He puts out stuff like this, which is great stuff. I love Robert Reich.
Right, because he initially came out and he was in support of Bernie Sanders. And what did he say? He said something like, after knowing Hillary Clinton.
So then when he was trying to convince Chris Hedges to vote for Hillary Clinton instead of Jill Stein, he said, I've known Hillary Clinton for 50 years. And what I say to that, yeah, and you endorsed Bernie Sanders. And it was only after that that you said, okay, I'm going to go with Hillary Clinton. Because you knew her. So this is a weird thing that's happening. It's happening all over. people who don't share any of her policy ideas or ideals are still. Look, I mean, this is obvious that would you think this guy's supporting a neoliberal? So, I mean, let's take a look, Robert, at what the presidential candidates have to say about all the stuff you're talking about. How about DAPL, Dakota Access Pipeline, which you just talked about? Someone named Burn Press on Twitter did a little thing. They went and on Twitter, you can go into their search and you can say a person's name and then a topic and see what tweets come up. So they did that. Hillary Clinton. They put in Hillary, nothing. Zero results.
Well, this isn't the first time. She was silent on Keystone XL too. Let's throw that in there.
She's consistently silent and not standing up for the right things. Here you do at Senator Sanders and no Doppel. Oh, look, he already tweeted stuff out. The United States owes the Native American people a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. Here's a new relationship with Native Americans protesting the pipeline. He's got a video. Oh, here's another one. The Dakota Access Pipeline would have the same impact. He's talking all about it. Let's go. How about Jill Stein? Jill Stein. Oh, boom, boom. Look at that. Jill Stein's all over it.
She actually was there.
She actually went there. I'm going to see. How about Hillary Clinton? Ooh. But Robert Reich says vote for her. Vote for her. Don't vote for this person. Don't vote for that person who gets it, who would never take us to the Iraq War, who would never okay fracking, who would stop the federal permits to be doing this oil pipeline. She would do all those things. She would stop the federal permits. She would stop fracking. She would re-regulate Wall Street, and she wouldn't get us into another war.
But Jimmy, she hasn't worked in politics before. She's only a doctor.
She's only a doctor and an environmentalist. What does she know, right, Ron? So don't vote for her. Robert Reich will say vote for her. I mean, vote for her. And that's what you're voting for. That's literally what you're voting for. She's still a Goldwater girl. Robert Scherer was on this show, said she shows zero growth. That's the biggest troubler about Hillary. She shows no growth. She does Iraq. She goes right ahead and does Libya, Honduras. She does NAFTA, deregulates Wall Street. She goes right on. She wants to do TPP. And she doesn't want to reinstate Glass-Steagall. She's learned nothing. No growth. Zero. Get ready for more shit, more wars, more militarized police. The banks are going to crash. More people are going to be poor. More jobs are going to be outsourced. The middle class is going to be slipping even further under Hillary Clinton. That's just what's going to happen. Things are going to get way worse for most people in America.
You know what my thing is at this point? Like, this election has really brought out the worst in so many people. And whenever I get into this discussion about Clinton and I list all these principles, so often people agree with me, and then it's like, well, yeah, I agree with you on all that, but Donald Trump, and it's like, okay, well then I'm at the point now where I want better choices than this. We shouldn't be in a situation where you don't agree with a platform at all, but your other option is this fascist lunatic. We deserve better than fringe right and center right, because that doesn't reflect the people that live here, and we're supposed to have a representative democracy.
Yeah, we're supposed to, but we have the Electoral College, which, let's remember where the Electoral College comes from. It comes from the Founding Fathers, which were a bunch of syphilitic slave owners, and they wanted to make sure that white men kept power, and they weren't a big fan of democracy. They just didn't like paying taxes to the king. And so that's why they invented stuff like only white guys and blacks are 3/5 of people, and white landowners. They wanted to make sure the Senate used to be appointed. So it's just, it wasn't all, they weren't even elected. And now we know what happens. They suppress the vote on purpose. They give more power to Wyoming gets 2 senators. They have less people in Wyoming than live in my congressional district. They get 2 senators. Huh? That's so there's a balance. There's the white guys made sure that the white rich landowners would keep power, and that's what that's all about. And that's why they did what they did to Ralph Nader. That's why they handcuffed Jill Stein to a chair for 8 hours when she tries to get her voice heard at a debate, which most Americans want to hear. Most Americans want to have 3-4 parties at the debate. We don't get it. So I don't know what the tipping point is. I think the tipping point is right around the corner. I think in 2 more years, you're going to see more Occupy Wall Streets. You're going to see more people out in the streets. And then you're going to see militarized cops and tanks start shooting people. That's probably what's going to happen. They do it now all the time. Nothing ever happens to them. They shoot people all the time, dead all the time, unarmed people. So get ready. And it's coming.